Rent due in 3 days. You check your account. $2,400. Your rent is $2,200. That leaves you with $200 for the month. For groceries, for gas, the phone bill, the student loan payments, the car insurance, you can't get out of. The math doesn't work, and you're not bad at math. If you watch my last video, an entry-level job crisis, you know we're building this every year. Because even if you do manage to get higher in 2025, this is what's waiting for you. Let me show you something. This is my neighborhood. Average 1-bedroom here, $2,200 a month. 2-bedroom, $2,800. And this isn't Manhattan. This isn't San Francisco. This is a mid-tier city. The kind of place you're supposed to be able to afford if you just work hard. Here is the question nobody wants to answer. When did rent become half your paycheck? Because that's the new normal. And I'm going to show you exactly why. This isn't a budgeting problem. This is a math problem. And the math is rigged. Let's start with the terminology because words matter. There is a metric called cost burden. These aren't arbitrary numbers. 30% is the threshold where economists say housing costs start to squeeze out other necessities. 50% is where it becomes unsustainable. So here is where we are in 2026. According to the most recent American Community Survey, 50.3% of all renters in the United States are cost burdened. That's 23.2 million households spending more than 30% of their income on rent. And to those, 12.2 million are severely cost burdened, spending more than half of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. But here is the part that should make you angry. If you're young, if you're just starting out, and if you're making less than $30,000 a year, 87% of you are cost burdened. Not some of you, not most of you, 87%. That's not a failure, that's a systemic design. And if you're in that 87%, this is what your budget actually looks like. Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies tracked this. For renters earning under $30,000, after paying rent, the median residual income, what's left over for literally everything else, is $250 per month. That's down from $350 just from 2 years ago. So not only you are cost burdened, it's getting worse, fast. Okay, so rents are crushing people. You already knew that. What you might not know is why. Because the explanation you've been given, greedy landlords, too many people moving to cities, that's not wrong, but it's incomplete. The real story starts with the housing market itself, which is frozen, completely locked up. In 2024, only 4.06 million homes were sold in the entire United States. That's the lowest number in 30 years. And in 2025, same number, 4.06 million. Why? 3 reasons, and they are connected. First, interest rates. If you bought a house between 2020 and 2021, you probably locked in a mortgage rate around 3%, maybe lower. But if you want to buy today, rates are hovering between 6 and 7%. That's double, which means if you already own a house with a low interest rate, you are not selling. Because if you sell and buy again, your monthly payment could double, even if you buy the same house. So existing homeowners are locked in, and new buyers are locked out. Second, prices. The median home price in the US right now is $414,000. That's an all-time high, even if you can afford a down payment, even if you can qualify for the loan. The actual price for the house is 60% higher than it used to be just 6 years ago. And third, this is the one people don't talk about enough. Insurance. Homeowner insurance premiums have exploded. Since 2019, they're up to 53 to 55%, depending on your career in your state. Why? Climate risk, hurricanes, wildfires, flood. Insurance companies are either jacking up rates or pulling out of entire states completely. So even if you can pay the mortgage, the insurance is another $300, $400, $500 a month. And in some places, you can't even get coverage at all. Now here is where it gets insidious because all 3 of those factors, high rates, high prices, high insurance, they don't just lock up the housing market, they create a cascade effect into the rental market. Think about it, if high earning income professionals can't afford to buy, where do they go? They stay renters, and when they compete for rental units, they push out younger, lower income renters. So the affordable tier gets squeezed from above. Rents go up across the board because demand is artificially inflated by people who would normally be homeowners. This is what economists call supply inelasticity. There aren't enough homes being built, there aren't enough rentals available. and the people who normally moved out of those rentals are stuck there. So you're competing with people who are making twice your income for the same apartment. Let me give you one more number, and this one explains everything. There is a shortage of 7.3 million affordable housing units for extremely low-income renters in the United States. That means for every 100 extremely low-income renters, there are only 44 affordable units available. This is not a market. This is musical chairs, and 2/3 of you don't get a seat, and it's not evenly distributed. If you're in Austin, Miami, Phoenix, Boise, city that saw massive pandemic migration, your rent has gone up by 30, 40, even 50% in just 5 years. I'm putting this heat map on screen. Pause here, look up your zip code, see what the increase has been in your area. This is why your rent is going up, even when your salary doesn't. It's not your landlord being greedy. I mean, maybe they are, but it's deeper than that. It's a structural shortage meeting a locked housing market. So let's bring this back to you, because all of this data, all of those systems, they land on your bank account every month. Let's say you got one of those entry-level jobs we talked about in the last video. You're making $45,000 a year. That's pretty good for the first job, right? After taxes, health insurance, 401k, if you're even getting that, you're taking home maybe $3,000 a month. 30% of that, the safe threshold, is $900. But the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in a mid-tier city is $2,200. So you're spending 73% of your income on rent. Not 30, 73. And that's if you live alone. If you want a one-bedroom, if you're not in a major city, the math just doesn't work. Okay, so what do you actually do? Because I'm not going to pretend there is a magic solution that makes rent affordable overnight. 1. Roommates. I know you're 30, you don't want roommates, but splitting a 2-bedroom brings your rent from $2,200 to $1,100. That's the difference between survival and joining. 2. Geographic arbitrage. If your job is remote or if you can find work in a lower cost city, do it. I'm not talking about moving to the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about shifting from Austin to San Antonio, from Denver to Colorado Springs. Same state, half the rent. 3. Negotiate everything else. If rent is fixed, then your phone bill, your streaming services, your car insurance, those are the variables. Cut them, negotiate them, use them as leverage. And 4, this is the long game, advocate for housing policy. I know that sounds abstract, but this doesn't get fixed without zoning reform, without more construction, without tenant protection. Vote for it. Show up to council meetings. Amplify the people doing this work. Because here is the truth, individual strategies help you survive, but systemic change is the only thing that fixes this. Look, I know this video is heavy. Last week I told you the job market is broken. This week I'm telling you that even if you get a job, the rent will eat you alive. And I wish I had better news, but I'd rather you understand the system than blaming yourself for being bad with money. You're not bad with money. The math is bad. The structure is bad. And until we name that clearly, nothing changes. If this video helped you make sense of why your paycheck disappears every month, send it to someone else who's struggling, because the more we talk about this, the harder it is for them to pretend it's normal. Next video in the series, we talk about the student loan system and why forgiveness isn't the answer you think it is. I'll see you there.